Hi, today I'm introducing to you the next reading. And you're looking at the title, Teaching the Conventions of Academic Discourse. And you're probably thinking, that is not an exciting title, not like Unspeakable Conversations or Cannon Fodder or Hip Hop Planet. No, this is straightforward. Teaching the conventions of academic discourse. It's using those words, those kinds of words that we don't hear on a daily basis. Conventions. This isn't Comic-Con. This is a standard way of doing things. Academic discourse, the language that scholars use when they communicate to each other. You are not the primary audience here. I want to go back to one of Reid's 3 principles, that writers should adapt to audience and purpose. And I can't emphasize it enough. There is no general way of writing that's going to connect everybody. That means that writers need to change their style depending on the type of writing they're doing and who they are writing to. So the author of Teaching the Conventions of Academic Discourse is not writing to a popular magazine article, she's writing to scholars. And so she's made it very important that she's going to use language that they expect. She's writing in an academic journal, and so she's going to use structures that scholars expect. Why introduce this to you since you are not the primary audience? Because you're in a university. You're going to be reading this kind of writing over and over and over again, and you're going to be engaging in this type of writing as well. It's important that you learn this, but I want you to learn to move between different styles of writing. So let's talk about this. Teresa Thonney, let's start with what we can learn from the title, since that's at the top here. It's teaching the conventions of academic discourse. So think about what this is about. You're not teaching any conventions. And so that means that Thonney is writing to somebody else, somebody who could teach conventions. It was published in Teaching English in the 2-Year College, and so you might anticipate that she's crafting an argument for people who teach English in a 2-year college. Given that they teach the same things that I'm teaching you, you might expand that definition and say the primary audience for this text would be people who teach English in a college setting. Not you, it is me. I am Thonney's primary audience. Where was this published? This is an academic journal article, and it was published in an academic journal. Who reads academic journals? Scholars. So it's written by a scholar for scholars. Teresa Thonney is the head of an English department at a 2-year college. It was published in May 2011, and although that is a decade ago, it doesn't make this out of date. I want to show you a copy because I think that it's important to skim an article before you jump into it. That kind of gives you a clue of how to navigate it. It also helps you see how long it's going to take, what you can expect. So right now you're looking at Teresa Thonney's Teaching the Conventions of Academic Discourse. Title, author name, a short summary of the text. This is called an abstract. And if we're skimming it to see what we can learn, we see right at the beginning, she introduces her argument. Given the current emphasis on disciplinary discourses, it's not surprising that so little recent attention has been devoted to identifying conventions that are universal in academic discourse. in this essay, I argue that, and she goes on to give her argument. We have not seen explicit, straightforward arguments in any of the personal essays. Those essays are written to engage, to storytell, and they use details to build implicit claims and arguments. You have to be paying attention, but it's a lot more entertaining. If you scroll down, you'll see she's citing, she's citing, she's citing, she's citing, she's citing. This is way less story-driven. And you might be thinking, this might take me a little longer to read than any of the other essays. By the way, this is her introduction, and now she's got a subtitle. She'll divide her text into subtitles, and these subtitles are there to help guide readers. And so they can be really valuable. One of the beauties of academic writing is that explicit argument and the subtitles that guide. I want to scroll all the way down to the end. Let's see if I can get there faster. Yes. There's a page of citations, another page, another page, another page, another page. Yeah, there's like 4 pages of citations. This text is filled with citations. So as we've been going through this, you can see explicit guidance can help you. Lots of citations you're not familiar with might bog you down. The language might bog you down. Think about how long this is going to take and give yourself enough time to read this. You will be writing a reading journal. You'll be using MLA formatting, and you will be creating a works cited page. That's the first one I've required so far. So MLA formatting, why? Why? You've done it before, and you know it's picky. You know it can be confusing. So why is it that scholars require formatting? And by the way, in some of your classes, you're probably being asked to use APA formatting. Why are there so many types of formatting? And really, there are a lot. There's Chicago, APA, AAA, AP, MLA, and every discipline has its own formatting. So why? Well, why different disciplines? Why different formats? Because every discipline focuses on different things. APA is focused on the date. MLA focuses on an author. They all care about different types of things. But when you pay attention to details and use a formatting appropriately, you are signaling to readers that you are part of this academic discipline, you are part of this conversation, and you fit in and your ideas should be taken seriously. There are some basics of MLA formatting that you should be familiar with. You probably know most of those. Times New Roman 12-point font, even double spacing, a page number inserted in the upper right-hand corner, 4-line heading on the left of the first page, original meaningful title, 1-inch margins, page number inserted in parentheses when quoting, paraphrasing, or referencing specific details from a text, a works cited page. Let me show you a copy of an MLA essay that I put together for one of my classes. All right, so you see that author name, professor's name, the class, the date. You'll notice that my last name and the page number are inserted. You can tell that it's inserted because it has, like the font is lower. Original title, First paragraph is tabbed in. You'll notice there's no extra spaces. Everything is evenly double spaced. No spaces between paragraphs. And on it goes. Those are the basics. The Works Cited page is titled Works Cited. It's a separate page, and every entry is unique depending on the type of text it is. You'll notice this one looks kind of funky because I was teaching my students how to do this on a video, but generally speaking, these would be arranged in alphabetical order by whatever is the first word here, normally the author's last name. I also want you to know that there's hanging indentation. That means the second line of every entry is indented. How do you do that? Google, how do I do hanging indentation? And you will find out. You're going to be creating an academic journal entry, and I want to talk about how to do that. Here's the pattern, and here's an example. Last name, comma, first name, period. The title of the article in quotation marks, period. The journal it was published in italics, comma, volume, VOL, period, and then the number. The edition, and you're going to put NO, period, and the number. The date, comma, PP, period, and then you're going to give the date range. Comma, the URL. If there's a DOI, you can use that, but sometimes it's a URL. And then period. And then you type in accessed, and then you have the day, the month, the year, period. Here is the example. Here is the example, and you can see last name, comma, first name, the title of the journal, volume, edition, date, page range, URL, and the date of access. I have nothing left to say. Have fun reading, teaching English in the two-year college. We'll talk about it on Wednesday.